Yo, what's up, Gordos? We're back, and I got an update for you because I just finished, I just completed Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and here are my thoughts. And let's talk about it because last night your boy finally beat Simon in a one-on-one or a five-on-one. That motherfucker was hard. Pause. Yo, okay. So much to talk about. Let's talk about Simon. Well, actually, I shouldn't talk about Simon first. Let's talk about where I last left off because, man, a lot of things have changed. A lot of characters have shifted in terms of my favorite. I want to talk about the music a little more because I do have more songs that I like way more that I've been listening on repeat. But let's talk about the ending real quick. And we can't talk about the ending without my boy Renoir. Now, this is a disclaimer, spoiler and all that stuff. There's a lot of things about this game that I don't really understand. I'm sure there's a lot of intricacies, nuance to the story that I just didn't pick up on because I'm not very literate. But I'm just going to give you a general sense of what I was feeling as I was playing the game from what I understood because there's a lot of poetic talking. I'm not smart, okay? I'm just letting you know. But it seems to me like Renoir, and from other videos that I've seen talking about it, was actually a good guy. He was actually a stand-up fella because he was trying to save Mael, and I guess his wife who was stuck in another canvas, or stuck in this canvas, the painted version of herself as the paintress. And he was there for like 60 years or something like that, under the monolith, suffering, watching people suffer. And I was like, bro, okay, Renoir, he might have decapitated some people, but you know what? You're a stand-up guy, and I believe that. But yeah, the fact that all these characters have kind of shifted, and it started with him, because when he showed up and he started speaking in like riddles, he's like, you must know what this means for her. Some shit like that. I was like, just say it. Just say it, man. How high Verso has risen for me and how low Gustav has. And I thought it would be the other way around. I thought the longer Verso was in the story, the more I would hate him and the more I would love Gustav. And I feel like Gustav just fell to the wayside. And I kind of question why he was there in the first place. Let me know why. Educate me. Other than the fact that Charlie Cox was only there for like, bro, he was, okay. There came out a story where Charlie Cox only did 4 hours of dialogue when he did this game. And that's crazy because he gave a performance of a lifetime. He was so good, bro. I think of that scene where he's yelling at Lune about whatever the fuck, but yo, the fact that he was only there for 4 hours and then he went to go like eat a cheeseburger or some shit, that's crazy. That's crazy. So shout out to him. Lune was always in my top. She might be top one. I don't know. CL was always going to be like in the middle. We'll talk about her in a little bit. Monaco, don't hate me for this. I was never a big Monaco fan. I never used him in my party that much. He was always in the second defense. He was always on the last stand of the Expedition 33. And yeah, I wasn't a huge fan. Esquier, I get he's funny. He's cool. Not my favorite, not the worst. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Not the favorite, not the worst. I guess he's based off of a dog, and I can see that now. I can see that because he'd just be talking. He'd be like, wee, 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 watch me fly. I forget what he says. But yeah, I think the one who fell the most for me, which totally surprised me, was Mael. And that has to do with the ending and what we were learning about the game as it was going on, knowing that we were in a canvas and all these people are not real. I'll get into that too. But bro, how far she fell, because I think her ending might be the true ending. I don't know if there is a true ending. But bro, I was rooting for her, man. I was rooting for Mael. I felt so bad for her because she was like being tormented throughout the whole game. she was having all these nightmares in black and white. Oh, fuck, who are you? Who are you? And no one was telling her shit until the very end, until, bro. And even when we find out that she's like Aline or Alicia, I forget the name. I'm gonna call her Mael. Whatever her real name is, right? I'm so stupid. I'm sorry. And then we find out that she's missing an eye, that she's like her throat is so burned that she can barely speak. And I was like, bro, when Claire was like yelling at her about all this stuff about, oh, you let Verso die because of you. And then the only thing you should say is, I was like, I felt so bad. I wanted to beat Claire's ass right then and there as Mael. I'm sorry. I know Claire has like a lot of stuff that isn't really clear to me why she was so mad at Mael specifically and everyone else. They just, because apparently they're the different stages of grief, right? The family. And so they were just having a hard time accepting Verso's death. And so she kind of took it out on Mael, from my understanding. And that was pretty fucked up because I don't know what Mael did other than burn half of her body, but I don't know. I don't think she should have yelled at him for whatever reason. Anyways, I felt so bad for Mael for most of the story. And then we get to the end where, you beat Renoir or whatever, and you get to pick. You get to, hold on. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Hold on. I'm not going to play the clip because I don't want to get hit with copyright. But bro, there's a point in here. Okay, so Verso comes in and you're talking to the boy, and apparently this boy is, I guess the painted version of Verso, because the real Verso's dead, and this is like of whatever left of Verso in this canvas, because it's his canvas. So I'm assuming this little white boy, this little white boy is the actual Verso, in control of the canvas. And so Verso tells the boys like, I know you're tired, something like that, like I know you're tired. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here? That's when I started connecting the dots. I was like, oh, yo, they're gonna make me like switch on Verso, because even at this point, I wasn't a huge fan. I was still rooting for Mael, even though, she was kind of losing it at this point. But I was like, bro, what's going on here? And then we get to this point where Mael and Verso are facing off. And I was like, okay, hold on, Mael. You're seeing that this painted version of Verso is trying to stop this tired little boy from essentially suffering. And she's just kind of interfering with that. And she doesn't really fully understand, or she's blinded by the fact that she doesn't want to leave everybody, right? She doesn't want to lose anybody, even though they're not real. And let me just bring this up before I forget. I don't know how the people in my like Lune, CL, and most of the people that found out that they were in a canvas, but how did they not have like an existential crisis, right? Because CL was like, oh, I get to see my husband again and my son, and then Lune is like, I can see my family again. But no one was really asking themselves like, am I real? Like what? Like how would you react if you found out your whole life was a lie, like a painting? You're a Mario painting, and you're just supposed to accept that. You're just like, no, I want my family back, bro. There's bigger things at stake. But that was always something that threw me off. Like, is no one questioning this? But I let it slide because whatever, right? It doesn't matter. So these two are about to fight, and so obviously I picked Mael because I was on her side. But bro. But bro, when we get to her ending, yo, I felt so betrayed. Verso is literally dying. He's like, I don't want this. I don't want this. And he's speaking for the child too. He's like, I don't want this. And then I don't know what she says here, but I was like, damn, bro, she lets this happen. She sees it. And I guess it kind of broke her because everyone is just chilling in the theater. Everyone's chilling in the theater like nothing happened. Like we're supposed to forget. And then, bro, when this little boy showed up, I was like, ain't no way that little ugly ass kid is supposed to be Verso. Ain't no fucking way, bro. Ain't no fucking way. Yo, and then when these two showed up, I was like, what are we doing? This is where I really realized, I was like, oh, she might have been the villain the whole time. Because these two, like, lay them to rest. Look at Look at Gustav. He's like, just another weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like it never really happened these past few days. I was like, what? This is some psychotic stuff right here. And then, bro, this shit. When I think of the ending, I think of this right here. This is so striking to me because, bro, this looked so good. This looked so real. Look at the expression on Verso's face. When I saw this, I thought this was like a real like stand-in, like a live action stand-in because of how good it looked. Look at the details. Look how pissed he is. And we'll get to Verso's ending and how pissed people can look in this game. But bro, this shit right here was like pure rage. It was like, this is sad because he knows. I mean, he has to know because he's grown older and he has to have experienced everything all over again, even though he kind of died in her arms or whatever. But man, this is nuts. Look at this shit. Look at my boy. And how he shot up is mostly because of here. In terms of likeness for me, because you feel so bad for this guy. You feel so bad for him. And then you just end on this and you're like, damn, Mael, damn, for real? We going out like that, Mael, for real? Come on, man, look at you. Look in the mirror. Like, this is delusional. She's surrounded by dead people. Anyways. That's why Verso's ending is way better. You know, if you skip your turn, I didn't know this until I looked it up. You get extra dialogue. I was like, what the fuck? They're just talking, right? And then we get the bro moment with these guys. I was like, damn, okay, Verso. Whatever ending you get, Verso does not look bad. He does not look bad. Look at this. This is sad. But the real reactions are with CL and Lune because bro. Let's talk about CL real quick because bro, okay, I get. So she tried to commit suicide at one point in her life because she lost her husband, she lost her son. She tried to swim out, SKL saved her. And so she kind of accepted death at one point in her life. And I think now she's kind of taken into account, because she's very logical, I would say. She's taken into account everything that's happened, and she kind of knows it's the right way. If she knows what's really going on, I don't know how much they know for real, like how much they witnessed between Verso and Mael at this very last moment. But I think she's really understanding, and I know she doesn't like it, but she's very accepting, and she's very accepting of the death. That's the only way I can put it, because this is not hatred, as we will see in a second. This is like acceptance. And this is the game is about grief or whatever. I know like the expedition, I looked this up in a TikTok last night. The expeditioners 33 themselves, they're based off of like the writer and her different stages in life. And I think this is just another way of them putting that onto the screen. But yeah, that's tough right there. Look at that. So much emotion in that. But then but then we show my girl. This is why she's number one for me. Lune was always number one. Never switched up. She got lied to I don't know how many times about this guy Verso, even though we understand it now, looking in hindsight. But bro, from her perspective, she has every right to be mad because she'd been lied to. And then look at her face, man. You just see it. This shit, when I was watching this, I felt it. I felt like I was being attacked. I felt like daggers were hitting my chest. Like, oh my god! If we had any point at this part of the scene played as Lune and then beat Verso's ass, I would have been there 100%. I would have put him through hell. I would have gotten the Angrium or whatever. Lune is number one for me. I think she is my favorite. I think so. And like I said, the music is top tier. I said it a million times before, and even in the last video. I'm just gonna go through some of the playlists that I've been listening to. Bro, another thing that I forgot to mention. There are versions of songs in this game that are not available anywhere. They're only in certain parts of the game. Like, so there's a song called Goblu, right? And it's in the Flying Waters. But there's a certain part of Flying Waters that you go to where they play a song or a version of that song that's so different that you can't find on Spotify or any of this official like list that they have on YouTube. But I was like, what the hell? And so someone like looped it and stayed in that area, recorded it, and put it on YouTube, and that's what I've been listening to too. But yeah, anyways, the same thing with like the Manor. I don't think the Manor's on Spotify, even though that shit's fire. But yeah, I think the one that I've been listening to the most that I've listened to the most is Lumiere, Departure, Une vie à tamier. I don't know. It's an 11-minute song. I'm sorry, I don't know French, but I love this game. Get Up for Lumiere, The Reacher, Orphelin. Um, and there's like so many different versions of these songs, right? Like 3 different versions. There's a song that plays during the scavenger when you fight that boss. I love that song too. But I think the one that I've been playing the most is the one when you fight the duelist, and it's called the Duelist. But bro, that shit, that shit be getting me through the gym, man. I be on the stairmaster, like, I've been doing something. Whatever. And then Clair has some bangers too. But yeah, thank you for watching, listening, liking, and subscribing. I can't wait for the DLC. I know there finna be DLC because I know that at the Endless Tower, there's like an extra spot that they're definitely gonna put something there. I mean, the story's over, but we could still have fun. More bosses, right? They could just throw more bosses at the Endless Tower. But yeah, maybe a DLC on Expedition 60 or some other random expedition because it can't be 33 again. Honestly, they can't extend the story because the story's done. And if I had to give this game a rating, it would be a 9.9 for me, or a 9.5. I would give it a 10 if it wasn't so short. I feel like, I think it's a small team, right? They did what they could. This game was worth like 40, $50. It's worth 100, okay? It's amazing. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And I see it through to the end. I saw it through to the end, whatever you say. But anyways, they were listening, liking, subscribing, all that stuff. And I'll see y'all next time. Leave a like, comment. And yeah, I love this game. I hope. Tell me what you thought. See ya.